Looking for stories that are fresh and new? Dark fantasy, humor, space exploration, time travel, cyberpunk, alternate history, and more. They're in the L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future anthology. From 24 award-winning authors and illustrators, plus art and writing tips and bonus stories. L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future. Buy your copy at galaxypress.com, Amazon, or wherever books are sold.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Into the Night with Shawn, Kelly, and Tara. And we are on UPRN Radio 105.3 Mississippi, 105.7 New Orleans, 107.7 Mississippi, and we just lost Tara. I don't know where she went. Good evening, Sebastian. Thank you for coming on. Hopefully we can get Tara back here pretty soon. You know what I mean? So again, I come out to everybody. How was everybody's week? My week was okay. I'm doing something different in my day, in my morning routine, and then in my evening routine. Oh, there she goes. She's coming back. Well, not there yet, but she's getting there. There she is. See, I'm adding her to the stream. Hey, welcome back, Tara. Hey,
Sorry
Frater.
about that. Glitched.
Hi,
Hey,
Frater.
Crow.
Your week was lovely. Good. It must have been a good week up there in spirit world, out there in the spirits, stuff like that. And I don't know, with all this freaking mess going on now, with the indictments and all. Hey, Mandy, good to see you, pal. Hey, Brandon, good to see you. And all this indictments going on, there is just like one big black dark cloud. Like, wow, it's just making everybody mean. It's making everybody nasty. Hey, Gary, good to see you, buddy. And it's just putting a lot of negative vibes out there. You know what I mean? And that's what Oddball said, in that movie Kelly's Hero. Negative vibes, Tara. Negative vibes.
Yep.
But I don't know. It just is like, I'm not going to get into it. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I will about 9:30. I'm going to get into what I feel, what's going on, because I really am excited about hearing my guest tonight. But I do want to recap what I did last week. My friend Sue, she has, I don't know if you have it or not, but she has CRPS. It's a complex regional pain syndrome. And RSD, it's a reflex sympathetic dystrophy. What it means basically in terms is that there's a lot of people who has this are in constant pain all the time. And right now there is no, the only kind of like treatment for it is pain treatment, pain medication and stuff like that, because they really haven't came up with any stuff, to cure this disease. Do you know anything about it, Tara?
I have it.
Oh, you have it? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, who has it that you said?
Sue.
Which one, M or the other one?
M.
Okay. Yeah, it's one of the three diagnoses that I have.
Okay. Can you explain to our people out here what's going on?
So for some people, it occurs when they injure like an arm or a leg, and it can feel like that part of their body is dead, or it can hurt excruciatingly. Mine is from a traumatic brain injury, so it's full body, and I feel like my skin is being burned by acid all the time. And it's almost like when amputees have the phantom limb syndrome, where you feel like you have a limb, but it's not there. Well, we have the opposite. It feels like our limb isn't there, even though it is, but it's extremely painful. No medications work for it. There's just no cure for it. It's the most painful thing you can experience. There's a scale that doctors use, and it's literally the most painful thing that you can experience. It's more painful than childbirth. It's more painful than kidney stones, amputee, being burned. It's supposedly more painful than all of those. And I'm actually interviewing to be an advocate tomorrow in Great Britain.
Awesome. That's good. Hey, Shawn, Wade Films, good to see you, buddy. Hey, welcome. It's good to see you. Shawn, he was our guest 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah, Shawn, what's up, bro?
Yeah, what's up, man? It's good to see you. But
He
you know
is
what?
our photographic expert.
Now, okay, our guest tonight, I've known this kid since he was like about 8 or 9. And now he's like 19. And he has grown so much. Just growing, I'm just so proud of him. I just can't say anything more. But what I want to tell you is that he grew up in with being paranormal, and basically what the show is about tonight. You know, talking about the paranormal when you were young and working your way up. Okay, as you're growing up. So what I want to do is, Tara, why don't you introduce our guest?
Sure. He is a brand new grunt in the military, in the Marines. He is my favorite son and favorite child. His name is John Thomas Bruecken.
And welcome, Grunt.
How's it going?
All right, man. No, it's good to see you, man. No smoking, man. You can't do it. No smoking. Are you smoking? Don't do it. No, no, no.
I gotta.
No, you don't. No, or else they're going to kick me off the show. So come on, John. Yeah, you don't want that to happen. But
Nope.
okay, give us your story.
Well, I mean, as a kid, both my older sisters, whenever I was born, my oldest sister was 9 whenever I was born, and my middle sister was 7, so they were pretty older than me, and so was everybody else on the street. So I never really had anyone to play with, and so I made this imaginary friend. His name was James, as I called him, and yeah, he used to like play with me, and then I could like see him like running with us like as animals, like on car rides and stuff like that. I could see him through windows, like running through the woods and stuff like that. And I thought it was just little boy imagination going crazy. And I noticed that my dog Dieter, whenever we first got him, he could also see him in the corner of my room whenever he manifested. He used to growl and bark and like get scared and not go in my room. And I thought it was weird because I was like, okay, why is he seeing my imaginary friend? And my oldest sister, I explained to her that Dieter was afraid to go into my room because of my imaginary friend named James. And my sister, she decided, she was like, can you draw James for me? I grabbed 2 crayons, a black crayon and a red crayon. And I just drew a black mask with 2 red eyes, and she freaked out, called mom, and then she contacted you. And that's whenever I were first really introduced into the paranormal universe.
And so, as you were inducted, indoctrinated, I think we could say that. But besides the Blob or James, who you named, did it seem like that there was a lot more different types of paranormal sightings that you have seen?
Yes, I mean, I could see things or hear things people couldn't. I thought it was just like, once again, imagination. Like I could see like little kids running around playing at playgrounds that other people couldn't, stuff like that. Or like we would go to a funeral home and I could see the person that is in the casket standing in the corner of the room. And I just once again thought it was just my imagination playing tricks on me. But
was that an Irish wake? Because that's what they usually do, dude. They stand them up in the corner.
Half and half, so who knows?
Hey, Z Sun Dragon. Hey, all lights up the smoke. Ah, thank you. Did a couple drags in there for me. and Donnie. But Tara, do you have any questions? I know he's your son. He's lived with you for all your life, and
Great.
and
So, I mean, you knew him even before he was born because we've been friends since my girls were little, but you never knew him like really well. And it was when we called you into our house that you guys started to get close.
mhm.
And my daughters have always had things going on. But John, what was it like knowing that, the house that you grew up in, you had paranormal people in your house, like your mom and your sisters, and we watched all of the shows on TV.
I mean, they just kind of lived amongst us. I mean, they didn't really cause a problem for what I know. I mean, Ashley had sightings. Anna also had the same sighting that I had. That's why she freaked out. She thought the dog was at the foot of her bed, and she went to go pet it, and it rose up, and it was a black blob with two red eyes. And that's the same figure that I would see. I mean, it just kind of felt like just another family member, really. It wasn't anything crazy. I didn't find any mischief of it, but it like from what Shawn told me later on, whenever I was older and more mature to understand what it was a malevolent like entity trying to groom me into like being something or like opening myself up to them, and no bueno.
No, no, I'm glad because God only knows would have to, throw sea salt on top of you or something like that. Oh my God, I'm in awe, everybody. Like I am in awe because like I said, I've known John so many years, and just to see where he's at right now, I'm just totally proud. But before we get into the paranormal stuff, John, why don't you give our listeners out here, okay, what you do in the Marine Corps?
All right, well, I just recently got to my unit. I graduated IMC, Infantry Marine Course, about a month ago. It was July 13th was my graduation date. Just hit my unit. I'm a part of 2nd LAR, Light Armored Reconnaissance, and I'm a part of the Mobile Recon Company. So if recon, like Marine recon and infantry had a baby, that's basically what I do. I
Okay.
go around and set up like radars and observe our enemy from afar, and before they even know that we're there, we're out.
So your mom was telling me some interesting stories when you guys are out doing your stuff, your military training stuff. Talk about the stuff you saw out there at night and some of the stories. Ladies and gentlemen, this is really interesting too. Uh, just tell them where were you and what state, and if you can, what was going on in order to set up to what you saw.
So my training consisted of being inside of Camp Geiger. It's a part of Camp Lejeune inside of North Carolina, because Camp Lejeune actually consists of three different bases. There's main base Camp Lejeune, and then there's the air station, and then there's also Camp Geiger, which is the ITB Infantry Training Battalion like area. And so there's this road, it's called Verona Loop Road, and that's where most of our like field operations and like training would happen. And it was like just rumored to be haunted. Everyone like was joking about it and stuff like that. And my platoon sergeant, Staff Sergeant Hart, he was asking like what people did before like the Marine Corps, and like what their jobs used to be. People would be like, "Oh, I was a busboy, was a mechanic." I was like, you know what? I'm gonna throw him for a loop. He comes to me. I was like, well, Staff Sergeant, I used to be a paranormal investigator before the Marine Corps. And he stopped in his tracks, did a complete 180. He goes, what? I was like, I used to hunt ghosts. And everyone just started cracking up laughing. And I found it funny too, because I mean, who in their right mind would just open to be like, I hunt ghosts for a living? And so whenever we would go out to the field, people used to like crack jokes at me, and they're like, "Is it haunted?" Until there was 1 week, it was defense week, where we basically went out into the woods and dug a hole and sat in it for a week straight. and the instructors would make sure like our holes are like camouflaged good and make sure that we're posting security and stuff like that. And instructors, they were talking in front of us, like my hole. I was with my buddy Catrera at the time, or no, sorry, it was Alan. And we're sitting there and we're holding security, and the instructors are like right in front of us. They're all talking, and all of a sudden, this god awful woman just starts screaming behind us, behind our security line, and everyone just went quiet. Like, what was that? And we just like us like students and stuff like that. We were like, okay, it's the instructor screwing with us. Someone's running around with a speaker playing like spooky noises, trying to get us scared because it's pitch black. We're teenagers. We don't know what we're doing, right? And the woman just kept on screaming and screaming and screaming, and it got so bad that the PMO, like the Marine Corps Police, had to show up to like where we were and search the woods to make sure that there wasn't a woman lost in the woods screaming for help. So that's whenever everyone was like, okay, that's not the instructors playing game with us. That's real. And they never found anything. And then there was another occurrence that happened. We were on SR 10. It was so SR means just shooting range. The SR 10 is this massive like tank range where like you could use armored vehicles and shoot them. I think it is the biggest shooting range like that any military has on the East Coast. So it's massive. It's like 3 miles down. And where we were set up to sleep, we were sleeping in like this like little triangle formation, so we have security and stuff like that. But we were just in like the parking lot on the gravel. We were out in the open. We weren't in the woods or anything like that. And I woke up in the middle of the night to go pee, and there was this big like metal building. It was like basically a big garage. And I went behind that to go pee, and I look slightly up and I see these 2 rubber black boots. And I was like, Doc? Because in the Navy, Shawn, like the Navy, they have black boots whenever they were in their camis.
Yep.
And I looked slightly up to his trousers, and it was the old BDU camo, like the old woodland camo that you would like see during like the Iraqi era. And then I looked to his blouse, same camo, and I looked at his face, and it was blown off. And I was like, oh, cool. Continued my pee, finished up, and walked away. And forget who was on fire watch that night, but someone saw someone standing in front of me, and they asked if I was peeing on their boots on purpose. I was like,
Oh my God.
saw them too. And I was like, oh, you saw them too? And they're like, yeah, who was that? I was like, don't know. His face was gone. And they're like, what? And I was like, I'm going to bed.
Well, we know that you're empathic. You're an empath. There's no doubt about that. Now, when you were in high school, getting ready to enlist into the Marine Corps, when you went to boot, did you kind of sense that there were spirits inside wherever your platoon area when you were in boot camp?
To an extent, because I kind of like tried to block out whatever like my abilities are, so they didn't interfere with my training or like try to like overwhelm me or anything like that. So I kind of like just turned it like down, not completely off, because I could obviously still feel like emotions and like still sense something is like around. But whenever I was in boot camp, we would hear like people whistling in the rain room, which for like unmilitary term, that's just like our shower. And people would hear them whistling, and then fire watch would go in there, and there's no one in there. So my barrack specifically, like for hotel company 2nd Battalion, we were right next to the parade deck, so it wasn't really too haunted. But 4th Battalion, their barracks were pretty haunted because it was right next to the rifle range, and in the rifle range, like on the right side, like in the woods, there's a unmarked grave or unmarked cemetery of guys who accidentally died during like the 1970s through the 1990s, and they just buried there.
So were they up? In your own mind, whenever you had a clairvoyant or empathic moment, did you think they were Marines, or do you think they were
Yeah, you
part of the land before the Marines came to Lejeune?
most of the entities that I've experienced, they were former Marines. I don't know about the woman screaming. I don't know what that was. It literally sounded like a banshee just screaming in the woods, and it was just a crazy experience.
Now,
And it
have
was funny.
you? Go ahead.
All the
Go.
same instructors that would like make fun of me for being a like paranormal investigator. It was kind of funny because the next morning they all came to me, John, what was that? Brecken, what was that? And they all wanted answers. I was like, I don't know, you tell me.
Well, you're getting awful cocky growing up there, buddy. To me, I think it's the Marine Corps. I'm just that. No, I'm not joking with you. I think it's the Corps, man. You changing. I don't know what's up with you, man. I don't know you. I don't know you, but I'm proud of you. Tara, do you have any questions?
So before you went to the Marine Corps, you were mentored by one of the best. And
Oh,
what were some of the things you experienced going on paranormal investigation? You were one of the few that was allowed to come before he was 18. So, like, what was it like, being a tween and a teenager growing up in paranormal? What was some of the stuff you experienced on location?
Well, I mean, my first ever like real investigation was DeMarco's restaurant. I think I was what 13 or 14 at the time.
yeah.
Uh, and we went down to the basement and you explained bubbles to me. And I was down there with what's his name? The
Roy?
bald guy.
The
Who was
what?
it, Mom?
That was Cousin Roy.
So we were down there and we were in the cigar lounge area of the basement. And we had a ball that was like probably like 60% flat. It like barely rolled. And we went down there and I was like, hi, Bubbles. Like at this time, I was still like skeptical. I wasn't like fully skeptic. I wasn't like fully believing. I was kind of like in the middle. I was like, hi, Bubbles. My name's Johnny. I'm around the same age as you. I don't have many friends. Can you play ball with me? And I rolled the ball across the floor and it sat there for like 15 seconds. Like a good minute. And I was like, can you please kick it back to me? And it started rolling back to me. And Roy's eyebrows touched his hairline that he doesn't have. And, and he shot up out of his chair. He was like, that ball did not just roll. I was like, I think it just did. It rolled right to me.
And what was your feeling when that happened to you?
It was just crazy.
Okay.
Like goosebumps all over. You could feel like electricity in the air.
Hmm. So, all the paranormal investigating you did, right? What did you get out of it all? Or even though you're still doing it, what what do you hope to get out of investigating the paranormal? What is your ultimate goal?
Just knowledge about like what's really out there, what's like amongst the realms of like the paranormal, and what really can and what is out there, what you can go up against, whether it be evil or good.
Hmm.
Because like the one summer I had whenever like COVID was a big thing and I wasn't in school because of online, I went deep into a rabbit hole of like demonology, and it was just crazy, like the amount of stuff that like what people really don't know about like true evil. Like what, people see a plate go across the room and they're like, oh my god, it's a demon, and it's like, no,
No.
no, if it's a demon.
When you were going down that rabbit hole on demonology, what were you learning? What
I
were
mean,
you?
it's essentially established like a military. Like there's the like different like kind of like I don't want to sound like ignorant, but like there's different like tiers of like demons. Like you have like your classic foot soldiers that like possess people, and then like you got like sergeants or like non-commissioned officers that like sometimes possess people and they're a little harder to like uh get rid of, and then like there's the four like generals that are in like control of everything, and
Hmm.
they only like answer to Lucifer.
Okay. If I told you something, um, I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of hates and people are going to follow me. But do you know, and I've done this on my research, do you know Satan and Lucifer are separate entities?
Yep. Yeah,
Do you know?
you had this conversation with me before.
Yeah. Do you know Lucifer was sent down to hell
To
to keep
control.
an eye on Satan?
Yep.
Yeah. And it's also known, too, that, and I've learned this from scholars, right, that when the end of the world comes, Lucifer is going to be sitting on the left hand side of God when it's all said and done, because right now, according to the scholars, right, and the theologians, the left seat of God is empty. And they all believe and they all have said that when the end of times comes, Lucifer will be back sitting on the left hand side, you know. So yeah, in my investigations, I've dealt with a lot of demons. Um, some are just like, basically, to me, the majority of them were like really, really uh, not so nice spirits who wanted to make a name out of themselves. They wanted to be a demon. So, but there were some big ones out there. And I really don't like to talk about it, even though I should. But there's a lot of private stuff that I want to keep inside for me for a rainy day. You know what I mean? Um, so, Tara, do you have any questions?
Sure, John, you went to a Catholic school. It's a pretty known school here in Pittsburgh. When you were studying demonology, you told me something interesting about Saint Lucifer. What did you find out about Saint Lucifer?
Uh, so the original name of Lucifer came from a saint, and the I can't remember the like exact like scripture from it, but he was a exorcist and was profound at it, and that's where the original name like Lucifer came from.
And why did they have a bad connotation to him?
Can you repeat that? You were breaking up.
That's okay. So you told me that they put a negative connotation with the name Lucifer. Do you remember why?
No, it's been a while. That was 2 years ago.
So he was running for office against a notorious God, and that's why they used a negative connotation and they wiped him out of the Bible. Tell me about it. But my question to you is too, I mean, in talking to a lot of your brothers and the priests that taught you, they had asked you if you were interested in becoming an exorcist. Why was that?
Just my ability to supposedly hear and see evil, and like the fact that I have an understanding for it and I'm not afraid of it because I know there's a higher entity that controls them, and I side with that one, aka God.
Mm-hmm. Now, good question. See, I didn't know about that one. Did the brothers come up to you? Okay, everybody, what we're talking about, brothers, he went to a Catholic high school, and instead of priests, they're called brothers. It's an order. I'm sure.
Like a monk.
Like they're monks, but they're like 20th century monks. I went to a Catholic high school too, and we were ran by brothers. I, so if anyone's confused about brothers, it's not his biological brothers; it is the brothers that taught school at the Catholic school. So go ahead.
So the senior year, my religion teacher, Father Darcy, really good guy. I just called him Father Mike because he went by first name basis. Him and I were pretty close. We used to. I had a free period after his class, so I used to just sit with him after class and just talk about random stuff. We would talk about like guns or something, or like military, because he knew I was fond about like going into the military. And then we started getting into like more like paranormal talk, because I told him that I was a paranormal investigator, and he would ask like my experiences and stuff like that. And I told him the story of Blue Mist Road, and his eyes just widening up. He was like, "You should become an exorcist." I was like, "What are you talking about, Father?" And he's like, "Your abilities, I mean, and the fact that you had no fear during that encounter, like you should become an exorcist." Because he knew that I had a strong understanding between God and myself, and like there's no shaking it, especially with like prior experiences of
Hmm.
like tests of faith.
Well, you are holier than thou sometimes, but I don't know, man. Ever since you joined the Marines, you're something else. I don't know what it is. I think it's the the Marine ghosts down there, like knocking into your head. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I'm
It's too
acting
many
weird.
crayons.
Too many, 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 many. But you know what? It's amazing that priests would actually come up and say that to you. Um, Now, the people who do exorcisms are not so much priests anymore. Okay, they train laymen. You know what I mean? They train laymen to go out and do their dirty work. You know what I mean? In fact, we had a guest on Chasing Prophecy a long time ago. And this guy's here from Pittsburgh, and he's not a priest, but he does exorcisms for um, for the Catholic Church or the Catholic diocese in here in Pittsburgh. But I don't know. My theory on demons. Okay, now I'm sure I'm going to be hated for saying this too, but they have what you call demonologists out there, right? The people who study about demons. Okay. And if you really look into it, there's about 2,500 different types of demons out there. Okay. How do you know what demon you're working with?
You have to call out their name.
But how do you know their name? How do you know? I'm not going to mention any names because that happened before, but
Right.
How do you
How
know?
do you know that Mary Jane isn't really Joe Bob when they say their name's Mary Jane?
You call upon a higher figure on the light side, and it'll pry their name away from them.
Okay. See that now. I know there's also a definite prayer on that people say, to show who the demon is. But in my experiences and all the investigations that I've dealt with, and I've dealt with a lot, and you all know I have dealt with a lot, I just comes to find out that 99.5% are just really angry spirits because people have moved into their house and decided to knock out a wall.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Or they took that polka dotted pink wallpaper that was on the wall and they tore it down. And the ghosts were so mad and so mean, nasty that all of a sudden people thought they were demonics, that they were demons. Okay. And they're not. They're just angry spirits. Okay. Now I know a couple people, and one guy that I know who's a good dude, and I've worked with him a little bit. He believes that ghosts aren't real; they're just angels and demons. Okay, and me and him have debated on that for many, many, many a time. But I don't know. To me, if I mean, you look at okay, for instance, a good theory here, story. Do you remember the movie The Lady in Black? It was a ghost movie, long
Yeah,
time
that came
ago.
out a while ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was a
that
while
kid
ago.
from Harry Potter was in that.
Yeah, we rented the Blu-ray disc and we played it on the new DVD player that Dad got from work.
Yep.
Okay, so right after that movie was shown in the theaters, I got 30 emails from different people saying that they saw the lady in black. Okay. And I'm like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. But it just goes to prove on what the movies and what TV shows, go out and tell people. And people are so like dwelled on everything's a freaking demon
Everyone believes what they see on their screen.
because of TV.
Yep.
So you could have Casper the Friendly Ghost out there trying to be mischievous, and Casper's a pretty cool ghost, and all of a sudden he does something mischievous, and people think he's a demon, and he really isn't. You know what I mean? So to me, they're just angry spirits. I would like to get yours and Tara's opinion on what I just said.
I 100% agree. It's a very rare occurrence that you actually do run into a actual demon, because it doesn't happen like every day or like every week or every month or every year. It's a very rare occurrence. Father Mike actually has been on 3 exorcisms, and he told me the one that he was on Mount Washington, and he had to call upon Mother Mary herself, and they started doing the prayer, and it was a complete dark room. Like all the lights were broken out and like shattered and everything, and this one corner of the room just lit up, just glow, like you took a chemical glow stick and threw it in the corner, and the demon or like the possessed individual just stopped, and they commanded it to give its name, and immediately answered, because it knew that the higher power has won.
Mm-hmm.
And he said it's been the craziest experience of his entire life, actually, like being in the presence of Mother Mary, and it was just in awe. Even though that there was a demon in the same room, he still said it was by far like the coolest experience he's ever experienced.
Okay. How
But
about you,
yeah,
Tara? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, John. Go.
I was just saying that I completely agree. Like most of the time, it's just a mischievous or an angry spirit that is just causing problems and doesn't like you, or doesn't like the fact that someone moved in their house, or, like you said, rearranging it, anything of that nature.
Mm-hmm. Tara?
My thoughts are, we all have that Uncle Fester who is a grumpy ass, and he sits in his chair and he smokes his pipe and he's just a curmudgeon. And the way I tell people is, do you really think he's going to go on the other side and be a cheerleader and be like, yay? No, he's going to keep smoking his pipe in his special chair. And God forbid if anybody throws it out or sits in it. And it's just the way it is. Now, I do believe there are imps that try to cause havoc. And I do believe that there are dark entities that like to cause emotional and physical issues and just like to wreak havoc. But then, I believe that there are shades of gray too. I believe there are angels that do the same kind of thing, because with you have to have that balance, every dark there's a light, and every light there's a dark. Different different calibers, if that makes any sense.
Okay. Sounds interesting. But, in conclusion of this little segment that we had to just talked about, yeah, you take the, there's a cat.
That's yeah.
At least he's not black, and crossing in front of me in front of a ladder. I don't know.
Well, she is one of my spirits.
But so to me, a lot of people think that they get possessed and stuff like that too, that I have talked to and I have dealt with. And you know what? It's that cat's possessed because he's walking in front of the phone. But no, I believe that, you know, it all comes down to the media. John, what was your favorite ghost hunting show?
Probably either Ghost Hunters or Ghost Adventures.
And what did you like about it?
Uh, I mean, just the type of like experiences that they've captured or evidence that they've captured. I like Ghost Adventures because like Aaron, he was pretty funny, and it was just watching him freak out whenever something crazy happened. I found it amusing whenever I was a kid.
Okay.
What do you
What?
like now, though? You have a new group that you like.
There's a YouTube channel that they're called Sam and Colby. They're two
I've
guys
heard about them.
Yeah, they're two guys slightly older than me, and they go all over the world, like doing paranormal things, and it like their like actual evidence is genuine. Like they're doing it to like actually like seek out like the like true meaning behind things. They're not like fixing anything or like making like their equipment go off or anything like that. Like they have like EMF detectors, the spirit box, K2 meters, uh, what's the REM pod. Then they also have this one really cool device. It's like a motion detector. It's shaped as a coffin, and if something walks in front of it, the music box starts to play. So they'll
Okay,
like
I've
set it up.
seen those. Yeah, I've seen those.
So they'll set it up down like a hallway, and they won't get anything. And then all of a sudden, they ask someone, "Can you walk down the hallway?" And all of a sudden, the music box will start going. The only thing that I kind of like disagree that they do is the flashlight method, because I don't really trust the flashlight method too much. But they do get a lot of evidence through the flashlight. But they also, mom will like this. They do a lot of what they call the Estes method, where you put the blindfold on, the headphones on, and you listen to the spirit box, and then someone around you will ask questions, and this person who has all their senses completely cut off and is completely open to hear whatever is transponding through the spirit box will like just start saying whatever's going through the spirit box, completely ignorant to the questions that the other person is asking. So like a lot of the times they're like their past investigation, they were in this mining town in Arizona, and they were in the vault of this one hotel that three miners dug into, and they were doing the Estes method, and they asked if like the three miners were in there, and the spirit box said there's only two of us. And because the story is the three miners that dug in, whenever they got out and got to the street, one of them betrayed the other two and shot them in the back and killed them,
Hmm.
and took all the money and ran. So that they found that out after they got the answer on the spirit box. So they were completely ignorant to that answer until they actually did their research and
Right.
further on it developed the story.
Do you think equipment is essential for investigating?
Not necessarily, no,
Could you
because
share your thought?
I mean, you can ask a spirit, "Hey, can you give me 3 knocks?" And if they have enough energy, they can manifest those 3 knocks. Or you can ask an entity to show itself, and you can see a shadow in the corner of your eye, something like that. You don't necessarily need equipment, but they do help.
So it don't it I don't know, in my past experience with people with equipment, you know, it's all about the shot, you know what I mean? I mean, I've got a couple good pictures. Val, right? She took one. You remember that one I showed you? Were you around at the time? Was she
Was
around at the with
was it
that?
you at the cemetery?
Yeah, yeah.
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 Okay. Now, I mean, does the spirit know that you're taking pictures of them? Do they know that we're running equipment? Do they know what to, you know, what's going on?
Do
I
they
mean,
even speak English? I mean, half the time you don't know if they speak English, if they're Native American, or, you know, a lot of the Chinese actually dug our tunnels and different things like that. So, I mean, if you're not speaking their language, are they really going to understand what we're saying?
Just how whenever we went to Shawnee Lake, we didn't get anything on the K2 meter, Ashlyn and I, until we started playing Native American tribal music on our phone, and then the K2 meter just started going crazy when we were asking questions for 3 hours and we didn't even get anything. And then we started playing music, and it was like someone lit a fire, and it just started going crazy.
Well, that I did something similar like that up in Gettysburg a while back. Um, I bought an Irish CD, and the group was called the Chieftains. Okay, and they just played old Irish songs, the fiddle, the banjo, the whole 9 yards. And so I went down into the wheat field, and I played that on my car. Okay. Oh my God, it was just like a bunch of lights, orbs, lights. Everything was just lighting up because they heard the music. You know what I mean? So yeah. But to me, and this is my opinion, everybody. I can't say for others out there, but my opinion, I'm not going to spend a ton of money on equipment and not get nothing. You know what I mean? It's just like, wow, just give me a K2 meter and give me a EVP player. You know what I mean? That's about it. So I don't know. I'm glad. I'm glad that you said that. The equipment really isn't that big, because to me it really isn't, because a lot of us here, in fact, everybody here on this panel here tonight, we're more into the spiritual side of things. Now, okay, when I first started the group in 2006, there was a big conflict of interest between the spiritual side of paranormal investigating and the scientific side of investigating. Okay. There were people out there to debunk, okay, everything that you got. And even though, we caught some decent orbs and got some decent shadows, we were always, being pounded by the scientific field saying, you have nothing there. There is nothing there. And I'm like, well, were you there when this happened? You know what I mean? And they usually say no. I said, well, how can you judge me, right, if you weren't there to see how and when and what happened? So nowadays, okay, it just seems like everybody is working together in the groups, and there's no more animosity between the scientific side nor the spiritual side of paranormal investigating. Yeah. So, Tara, do you have anything to say?
Well, I know, without saying any names or locations, that when John was younger, he had witnessed people tampering with and making do things. And I know back when he first started, he was really affected.
You're breaking up, Tara. You're breaking up, hon.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Without saying any names or places, I know that John had gone on an investigation where somebody manipulated the equipment. And back then he was real into the technical side of everything. And he decided right then and there, on the way home talking to me, to use less mechanical stuff and more spiritual stuff and gut instincts.
Mm-hmm. And which is good, because I don't know, like you said, people manipulate, pieces of equipment, and that's just not right. You know what I mean? It just, I don't even want to get into that discussion. It just gets me really, really mad.
A big thing that I found was the REM pod device. If you chirp on your radio and you turn on your radio and you go to transmit something, it'll set that REM pod off for 20 yards. You can be in a different room and set it off.
What do you mean by chirp in your phone? What's that?
So like whenever you chirp your radio, you hit that like side button and like to turn it on to transmit whatever you want to say. So like if we have like walkie talkies and we go to talk to one another, we hit that button to like talk. It will set that REM pod off with the radio waves. So who knows, like on the TV shows, if them using the REM pod, if someone's not sitting there just chirping the walkie talkie and making it go off.
Now, see, back to the is it Estes? What is it
That's
called?
Method.
Yeah. Now, see, when I would watch that on TV, okay, and here's where I had my doubts about it. And I'm allowed to have doubts. I'm allowed to question. First Amendment, right? Freedom of speech. So I'm giving you my freedom of speech here.
Unless you're Trump.
Don't go there. Not
I
Not
was just coughing.
yeah. But I look at them and I'm watching them on TV and I see with the blindfold and the headphones on. Okay. How are they not? How do you know that that ghost box is actually saying those words to those questions?
I mean, you don't really. Yeah, I mean,
I know. So,
trust in that person, really.
but all the ghost shows, and I'm not knocking them. Okay. I'm not. I'm not knocking the ghost shows. One, I am your favorite, but no, to me, I need to see the proof that the questions that the dude is asking, that the girl comes with the answers. I need to see, I need to hear are you Tara? And you hear no, right? She says no. I need to hear that. So I have a hard time believing in stuff like that. You know what I mean? Um, Call me old school. You know what I mean? But to me, it does. You just can't go out and try to manipulate an answer so people will come back and watch your shows. Do you know what I mean? And it just, I remember when I did Raw Fear. You remember Raw Fear when I shot that film, that 13 episode season thing. I actually, our second or third episode that we played, we didn't get a damn thing. But I still showed it on TV because of what I wanted to do was to prove to people that not all investigations that you get stuff.
Yep.
And I did that. And I got a lot of good feedback over that, which I was impressed by, which was, I was like, interesting. But so back to you, John. Okay. You were on Blue Mist Road with your mom. All right. And here's a question where I trust me. I trust you with the bottom of my heart, man. You're bro to me. You're blood. How in the hell did you see a Wendigo out there on Blue Mist Road?
I have no idea. I didn't know that they existed before I showed Mom what I saw because I drew a sketch about it and she told me to call you. I was completely ignorant to what those were. I didn't know what they were until I called you and you told me what they were.
How did you actually share the story? Share what happened leading up to that.
So we were finishing up the investigation. We were about to go back, and we decided to do one last EVP/K2 session at the hanging tree. And it's pitch black. It's like probably like 11 o'clock at night, Mom?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, somewhere around there. And everyone else started hearing like animals like fighting or like a god awful like weird sound. I heard two things just talking to each other in the woods. And I looked over and I see these two like beings crouched down with a deer skull with fangs and antlers. And like they were looking at Ashlyn, and I heard one say which one, and then the other one say that one and pointed. And I look at Ashlyn, and Ashlyn just goes straight into a panic attack.
Mm-hmm.
Like as soon as they pointed. And that's whenever I told everyone we have to get out now. And Mom asked me why. I said, I'm not telling you, get out No, that's
Mhm.
all I'm saying. I was like basically dragging everyone out by their hand because I didn't know what they were. I was scared, helpless. I didn't know what I was like up against, and I thought everyone else could see them, and so I didn't want anyone else to see them. But whenever I asked everyone the next day, like the next morning, if anyone saw anything in the woods, whenever I put my flashlight on them, no one saw anything. So
So, did you ever sit down and think about after that night on why you saw them?
just I kind of just chalked it up to like one of my abilities. I like looking like throughout the past, me being only able to see James and
Uh-oh, we lost them.
Wonder what
Oh,
caused that.
come on. Come on, John, get on. There we go. Your mom wants to know
someone
what caused that.
someone doesn't like me talking about them
What's that?
apparently. I said something doesn't like me talking about them
Ah,
apparently. But
okay. Okay.
I don't know. I like looking back at the past, seeing like knowing what I've seen, knowing what I've heard, and like kind of comparing and contrasting to what other people haven't seen and haven't heard. I mean, Mom brought up the fact that like I may have a gift of hearing and seeing evil, and that's why
Okay.
Father Mike, whenever I told him the story of like going to Blue Mist Road, that's why whenever Father Mike told me I should be an exorcist because it's
Hmm.
a very rare gift.
Do you ever walk in public and you just thinking that people are just staring at you?
Yeah. I can also like I don't what's the movie with Bruce Willis where he can like touch people and like see if they're like bad or good?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't
Uh
know that.
I don't
the
know that one.
Unbreakable Man. You know what I'm talking about where he can like lift like crazy weights. Like his son started like putting like a crazy amount of weight on his bench press and he his like his kryptonite is water. Like so whenever he goes outside and it's raining, he wear like a poncho.
No, never heard of
Uh,
it.
uh, it's kind of like that to where like I can either be around someone or like touch someone and I can immediately tell like intentions or like if they're like good energy or bad energy. Like I can like read people very easily.
So, and I'm coming to this question. Whenever you're out on maneuvers, do you have a sense on what's going to happen, or do you completely block it out?
I try to completely block it out, really.
But you know
Like,
you can't.
uh, I mean, like I can't turn it off completely. I can only turn it down because, like, say for instance, I am out in combat and one of my buddies gets blown up right next to me and he's dead,
Hmm.
and I don't turn it off, and I see him staring right next, like standing next to me, and saying, "Why didn't you help me?" Like that's gonna mentally screw with me. So I mean, I try to
Right.
just block anything and everything out whenever I am doing my maneuvers.
Okay, but okay, I understand that part. But what I'm saying is, whenever you go out in training and you're out in the field or in training, do you kind of know what's going to be coming up before it actually happens?
Uh, I believe so because whenever we were doing patrolling week, we were also like doing ambushes and stuff like that, and it was our last day, and I don't know if it was really just like me being like smart or anything like that, but I was like, we're walking down a straight road that's surrounded by woods and low level brush. We're about to get ambushed because we have blanks. And I look to my left and I can see someone's boonie hat, and I screamed enemy left, and we ended up winning the firefight as I saw them first. And I mean, I brought this up to Mom earlier. Like I'll think about something like something random, and then like a person that I'm like with or talking to, uh they'll say it right as after I think about it. So
Okay.
it was. What were you talking about in the car, Mom?
Oh gosh, I can't even remember. I honestly can't. I was just so excited that you were home.
We were talking about something, and I was just sitting there in the car, and I just thought about something, and then Mom said it right after I thought about it, and I was like, weird. That's like the 10th time I've noticed that happen.
Okay.
So
And you're
I don't know.
and
I
you're
don't know
young.
exactly. Yeah, I don't know exactly what gifts I have. I haven't keened on them. I haven't like fully.
Well, you know what? There's going to be a time whenever you're going to learn about that. But right now, man, protect the United States of America, my man. You need to. That's your job. You know. What has he told me before? You protect the Constitution of the United States. Am I correct, sir?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Cool. Now it is 9 o'clock p.m. I'm going to take a little break here. Just want to say thank you to our sponsor, Carnation, for sponsoring the second hour of Into the Night. Right after me, Trish Moe comes on, The Missing Piece with Trish Moe, and she has an awesome show. She has a lot of good guests, and she has a lot of good things to say. We also want to go with the Outer Realm uh, with Michelle. I cannot pronounce her name. She's going to yell at me because I'm sure she's listening. But with Michelle, and see, here's my problem because I want to say these things. Thank you, Z Sun, thank you. But you know, I have a problem trying to remember. I know them. I have it written down, and damn it, I don't have the paper, and I still can't forget about it. I don't know, but you know, if you want to, please, UPRN Talk Radio, 105.3 New Orleans, 107.7 Mississippi, every day of the week. Even on Sunday, I do believe they always have people on doing podcasts, you know, doing radio shows here. So if you're not doing nothing, Phil, you know, just go on UPRN Talk Radio, and I can guarantee it, a show will be on. And if it's something that you just not correspond with, you know, there's going to be other shows during the week. So I highly suggest that, you know, like on your phone, you just keep UPRN Talk Radio on, you know, get their app or whatever they got. And if you're feeling bored, just hit that app, you know, and you can watch Into the Night. You can watch The Missing Piece with Trish Moe, The Outer Realm. You can watch The Centrals. So, and no, they're not paying me to do that advertising. No, I just want to do it because they're my friends. And so, again, I want to thank Carnation for sponsoring the second hour of Into the Night with Shawn Kelly. Okay, Tara.
Yes.
Start talking.
So, John, we've talked about the paranormal and everything, right? How was it knowing that your mom was into the paranormal and everybody, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a normal thing. What was it like growing up knowing your mom really was?
I mean, I always knew you were weird. So yeah.
Oh, John, you're lucky I crawled through there and kicked your butt for saying that to your mom. Holy crap.
I told her to be completely honest with the questions, so yeah, it's okay.
It ain't okay. It's your mom. Come on, dude.
I mean, you're always different amongst all the other like moms.
That sounds better. That sounds a little bit better.
So I mean, it didn't really bother me. I mean, like whenever we sat down and watched like ghost shows, I just saw it as like a bonding experience between you and I.
Yeah.
Oh, shucks. Touches my heart. That was
so. Cool. What was it like knowing that your mom was into the paranormal and like you saw me walking over to some of your superiors and stuff?
I just put my head in my shirt and just like, oh, she's gonna embarrass the hell out of me, isn't she?
And did she?
To an extent, yeah.
To an extent. Oh man. So John, I'll get you out of the being blushing because you're blushing. I can see you're blushing. But listen, have you ever gone off base and done some paranormal investigating down there? And are there other Marines down there that do like the paranormal?
I haven't yet. I know I've been like building a list of different places around North Carolina that have like possible paranormal connections. Like just Googling them and like seeing them like on like TikTok or something like that. There were a handful of Marines whenever I would like tell my like ghost stories that were like extremely interested and like
Hmm.
wanted to go on investigations with me. And I have their contact info, but like I haven't like put anything in concrete yet because I'm just still getting acclimated to being in the fleet.
But do you plan on doing like starting your own like grunt paranormal group?
I mean, possibly, yeah, in the future. Yeah, whenever I'm like,
Paranormal Grunt Lejeune. There you go.
No, we're gonna go with the Red Crayon group.
The Red Crayon Group.
Yeah.
I'm not okay. We'll see. But
His
what else?
favorite flavor.
What else do you have going on, John? Tell us what's coming up and what you plan on doing, and anything else on the paranormal.
I mean, nothing's crazy coming up. Just like I said, just still getting acclimated to my unit and everything. Every day's like pretty much a copy and paste. Wake up, PT, go to chow, do classes, go to chow, do some practice applications on what we learned in classes, and then we get told to screw off for the rest of the day.
Hmm.
But
What time? Good.
what time? Like we normally get told to screw off around like 16:30, like 1700 ish.
All right. So explain to people
4:30.
what time that is
So
in
4:30, 5 o'clock in
in the
the
afternoon. Okay. Are you allowed to leave base?
yeah.
Oh God.
Dude, I'd be all over that. I'd be going to museums and all kinds of crazy stuff. But anyway, that's me.
Yeah,
I
we
know. I think you should, if you can, because you invited me to come down there and do an investigation with you. And a couple years maybe down the road, I'd be more than happy to do that. I mean, I've seen you grow, and I'll say it again, from a little tadpole all the way up to like one big ass bullfrog, right? But during that, watching you learn the different aspects of investigating the paranormal work, and it's, ladies and gentlemen, it's not all about the paranormal. Okay, I've seen this young man grow, and I'm damn right proud of him. And I just don't know. There's a little teardrop coming in my eye, because honest to God, you're a good dude, man. You're a good person, and you got a good mom, and you got a good family. So, do you have any more questions for John? Tara? Tara? Uh-oh.
I'm here.
Okay. Do you have any other things for John?
Well, I just can remember when you first met him, and he was the biggest pain in your buttocks. And he's grown into a good friend and family stuff.
Right. Wow. Well, John, I want to thank you for being on the show tonight, dude. All right. I know we got another hour, but I'll be honest with you. I ran out of stuff to ask you, unless you can come up with some stuff. You know what I mean? We covered it basically over all the things that. We'll go with this. Have you read any good books lately?
I haven't had time to. I have like kind of like a list. I'm not a big avid reader. I do more like audiobooks. I listened to like the Lone Survivor book whenever I was in my schoolhouse for IMC, just to
Hmm.
pass. But no, no, not necessarily. No.
And if you could, can you give some advice to people who who's starting out as a paranormal investigator? Would you like to share?
Good advice. I mean, really be open with like your investigations. Try not to like force like things to happen. I mean, like you said, Shawn, not everything like is that you see on TV. Sometimes you'll get something, sometimes you won't.
Hmm.
And like it really all depends on like the location where you are. I mean, like actually, it really doesn't, because you can find paranormal like anywhere. I mean, like even the house that you live in day to day, I'm sure there's some residual energy there that you could capture. But I mean, like, just be really open minded about it. Don't do stupid things like playing with the Ouija board or anything like that. But I
Oh,
mean,
okay, that's a good. We'll keep you on a little longer. What's your thought on the Ouija board, dude?
stupid. It's something that you cannot control. It is way above your power. And if you open something like a portal and you can't close it, it's going to be a really crappy like day.
Okay, now I know a couple people who would debate you on that on the Ouija board. Um, some say it works.
I mean, I'm sure it does, but like whenever you're an amateur and you don't know what you're playing with, I mean, like it's like a little kid playing with a stove. You're bound to get burned at some point. I mean, so, I mean, I mean, I guess if you are careful and you know what you're doing, which, I mean, mostly people don't. People just find a Ouija board and be like, oh, let's go play with this while we're drunk. And they don't do the proper procedures, and things can get messy.
I always tell people, always have somebody around that knows what they're doing
Yep.
when they play with that, and then I can see how it could work out for the good of things. You know what I mean? Personally, me, um, I don't like Ouija boards. Okay, but I have a lot of friends that do like Ouija boards, right? And they do use them. But I know how they are. You know, they know how to use them. Okay, so out of mutual respect, I don't go and diss them, and they don't come back and diss me. You know. But I'm going to ask your mother this question because she's a witch. So, Miss Witch, what do you think of Ouija boards?
I think you should use them if you know how, and if you don't, you shouldn't touch
You're breaking up pretty good, babe. What
them.
was that?
I believe if you know how to use one, just like anything, that's fine. Don't use something you're not prepared for the consequences of using. And if you don't know how to use it, then don't use it at all.
So, would you put into the category of a pendulum?
Same thing. Yeah, any object or even dowsing rods or whatever you're drawn to do. My number one thing is if you're not willing to accept a consequence, because there's always a cost, don't do it. And if you don't know how or don't want, or you're not learning how by, somebody who really knows what they're doing, don't do it.
Hmm. Okay, that's cool. Well, John, I tell you what, it was a pleasure having you on, sir.
Thank you, Shawn.
Hopefully we can hook up this week before you go back. Maybe go out and do some coffee, something like that. It'd be good to see you, you know. Um, then I'll tell you the real reason why the Marines are part of the United States Navy. I just want you to know that. Okay, don't forget you have a little anchor and send you on your. Oh, I do have a question off the record, real quick. Are you? They came out with a rule like a couple of years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, to where you're not allowed to mock the other militaries. Is that true?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Not
I
to your
mean,
knowledge?
all
Okay.
all of like the mocking between the branches, it's all fun and games until we have a common enemy, and then we drop all of the hate their way.
Right. Okay. See, there was something where two ladies were in the Air Force, and some sailors were saying something bad about the Air Force, and they got offended. And so uh, They kind of
Yeah.
like put a rule out there. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
we don't have really any people that take like offense in the Marine Corps. Everyone's a little more tough skinned, and if you do take offense, you pretty much get told to pound salt.
And you know what? Thank you again, sir, for being on. Let's be in contact this week, you know, so we can do some coffee. Seriously. All right,
Got it.
Terry. All right, brother. Hang in there. And Terry, do you want to say goodbye to your son?
You're my heart and soul, you know it, buddy.
Love you.
Semper Fi, brother.
Semper Fi. Say
Hoorah.
it. Hoorah. All right, brother. Thank you. That was awesome. That was great to see him. You know what I mean?
I thought you'd enjoy it.
I did. I did. I mean, such a respectable young man. You know what I mean?
Complete 180 from when he was a kid.
Oh my God, yeah. I don't know the dude, man. I don't know him no more. I don't know him. It's crazy.
I mean, he was respectable, but he was a goofball and flew off the handle quite a bit. He definitely was Little John.
Right.
All the stories about Little Johns are true. Because I have one.
So what, you know, before I get into my spill here, what did you think of the show tonight?
I learned a lot from him. You know, it was questions that I've always wanted to ask him that I wanted to wait till the right time. And I, you know, talking to him prior to us doing this, I didn't like give him any questions, but I told him to answer honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really neat to see, you know, him being respectful to his mentor and, you know, learning from both of all these years and just, you know, getting a feel for what he thought of everything growing up.
Right. It was definitely a good show tonight, and but I do want to get into the spiel. All right, I want you hanging around, and I want you to put your 2 cents in. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm tired of all the crap that's going out there now. Okay, you know, I kept my mouth shut for the longest time. You know, you know, out of respect for everybody, you know, I didn't say how I felt. Okay. But now I'm tired of it. And I want to share my thoughts with you. Okay. Now, the way I am going to explain this to everybody is it's a movie that I am making. It's a movie, you know what I mean? It's not pure facts, it's just non-fictional, whatever. I'm just making a movie. And in this movie, there's a lot of people getting hurt because of some jackass who is like is a bunch of nonsense, who doesn't know who's coming, who's going, and he's making life hell for everybody. He really is. And the cohorts that are with him, or let's just say who's spilling, you know, who's pulling on his strings. We are not going to have American at the rate that this shit is going on. Okay. I'm seriously trying to avoid saying things on here because I know for a fact that just like that guy up in Idaho, 75 years old, and he said something, and that the alphabet came in and they shot him dead, you know. So I'm trying to keep it all out. I am sick and tired of all this freaking bullshit. Thank you, Sebastian. Thank you. I'm tired of all the shit that's going on out there right now in the world. Okay. And what really, really freaking pisses me off is Maui. Okay. All right. If you look at the pictures in Maui, a fire does not melt metal to a car like that. I have no, there's no way in hell that that was a regular wildfire, forest fire. No, it wasn't. You know, now they're claiming that it is probably microwave something, um, a a beam of some sun coming from somewhere that causes fires. And people down there don't freaking care. And what that jackass said the other day, no comment. Because somebody asked, are you going to go down and help? No comment. And with a little smirk on his face. But then again, this jackass wants to send more money over to Ukraine, but doesn't want to help anybody in Maui. Sebastian said it's arson, Shawn and Tara, of a type, of course. Thanks, Sebastian. Anybody out there who wants to, join in and say what they want to say in the chat room, feel free to, please. If you have something out there that you don't like what I say, feel free to say it. And we can, I don't want to debate you. I just like saying, hey, this is how I feel. But Hawaii is part of the United States. And if I'm not mistaken, they were stopping people from bringing in food, supplies, water to these people. They were stopping it. Why? It's not the America I know. I'm 61 freaking years old. If somebody is hurting, I'm going to go help. Are they that desperate? And then the mainstream media, okay? Bunch of asses, man. They tell one story. They tell one story. But again, they won't tell the other stories. I will be honest with you. Me and David Muir do not get along. We don't. I don't like how he does news. But my mom loves him. I don't. Because he don't come out and tell the whole news. I hear everything about, Trump being indicted, Trump being this, Trump being that. But then again, you're waiting for them to say something else different, but they won't. They won't do it. They won't. That's not news. But then again, I guess, people and money in the pockets and stuff like that. It's full of bullshit. There's a lot of bullshit going on out there, man. There is. And everyone says there's a silent majority. Yeah. And it's true, there is. But then again, everyone talked about the old man saying something that got him killed, And what I'm saying tonight, and I'm not being egotistical, but this is my First Amendment right, is the freedom of speech. Mandy says, no, I think it's the helicopter putting fire in the woods. Okay, good to see you, Mandy. But I have the right to speak what I want to say. So if I'm not here next Tuesday, the FBI probably came in and knocked me out, or arrested me or whatever. I don't know. I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of what they're doing to Donald J. Trump. 10 indictments on a RICO charge. Come on. Just because he asked something over the phone? Why? So are you. Okay, Mandy. Jenny, the fires are done deliberately and Biden is a piece of shit. Yes, you're right, Jenny. Thank you for saying that. The fires are done deliberately. And I just got so angry today about it. What really pissed me off a lot about it, Jenny, was that they were stopping people from bringing in stuff to help these people. Isn't it amazing that Oprah's house didn't get touched? Bezos, whatever the hell his name is. None of the rich people, their houses didn't get touched. And now they're going to take that Maui and they're going to make it into some kind of AI city, whatever. There are, people calling up the people that used to live there and they're saying, do you want to sell your parcel of land? And they didn't, and this fire just started, it happened like 2-3 days ago. And they're already in there, them freaking misers and pains asses. But when you get a president who says no comment about the people in the States who are hurting, who lost everything, and he says no comment with a smirk. How in the hell could we still keep this son of a bitch in the White House? How? Oh, let's impeach him. Go ahead. We've been saying that since he freaking started. We got the House. The Republicans got the House. So why can't they freaking go in and start impeaching this dude? This world's a fucking mess. Oh, I swear to Tara. It's okay. I swear. The world's a mess. Mandy says because he pays people off. Of course he pays people off because he's, sending that money over to Ukraine and not down to Maui. Come on. Seriously, what the hell? That's effed up. I want to say, Maui, my prayers are with you. My prayers are with you in Maui, the people. And I pray that all the angels come down or whoever, and you get many blessings and that your life starts off on the right again. What they did to you was not right. They didn't. It was not right. But I keep saying, karma is a bitch. Because I tell you what, she knows what's going on. And all those assholes out there saying all this shit, karma's going to bite them in the ass. And it's funny, I was talking to some people the other day. You know what I mean? Freaking Oprah. Freaking everybody. Everybody, here's what happens. When we die, when they all die, you're going to be in a 6 foot by 6 foot freaking with nothing. It's just freaking amazing. What the hell is going on? I do believe, in my heart, I do believe that Donald J. Trump will be our next president in 2024. If he's in jail or not, who knows? I believe that. We need him. We need somebody like him. No other freaking puppet. Because I was watching TikTok the other day and they had this priest on. I forget where he's from. He's Greek. He says, the people of America need Donald J. Trump in 2024. And if he doesn't win, we will no longer have a country. And that's not right. It's not fair. Mandy says, I second that. It's true. It's true, Mandy. We won't have a country anymore. So this is my rant. I needed to say this because I just had it all building up. And trust me, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't even tread water yet. I'm still underneath. But out of respect for UPRN Talk Radio and other people out there who could be listening to the show that have a different viewpoint of what I feel, I just want to keep it on a low key. Wait until next week or until, again, something happens and I get really, really pissed off. Tara, care to chime in?
I don't care if it's Democrat or Republican. What really aggravates me is the government will give all this money to other countries before our own country. Look at all the veterans. Look at freaking Louisiana. They didn't do squat for them.
No.
They haven't done squat. And, you know, before we're sending money anywhere, we should be taking care of our national debt. We should, I mean, like, there are so many things out there that we could be, you know, we have kids that need homes. There are people that are homeless. There are kids that need adopted. We don't need illegal immigrants. I mean, even the Democrats are starting to get mad about all the illegal immigrants everywhere.
That backfired in their face.
I mean, the money needs to go to our infrastructures, to the people that need it in the United States, period, end of story. And I don't care who gets into office on my 50th birthday, literally, there's going to be a civil war.
I believe there's going to be one too.
And there are helicopter pilots dropping in all kinds of stuff for these people because they don't want people accidentally stepping on dead people, which I can understand because some of the roads got overtaken and there are dead bodies and people just don't realize it. So the governor asked not to come in for that reason. But there are helicopter pilots dropping stuff in, and they were over 9/11 in the military, and they said that this looks like 9/11, only worse.
Yeah. Come on. Houses, cars being melted, houses being destroyed, but nothing to the trees. Nothing. You know what's crazy, Tara? Here's what's crazy. A church did not get hit. All those fires that were around that church did not get one fire. Not one hit. Go ahead.
Well, and this is the other thing. The government, the puppets, the powers that be, the uniparty, whatever you want to call them, want to take funding from schools that have a rifle team or ROTC. They want to take guns away. They want to take our gas away. They can turn off our power grid at will. What about all the fires in all of the food processing places that you don't hear on the news? They can take our food away. They can do anything they want to do. I mean, they're making these kids so that they can't defend themselves.
Right.
I mean, they take away ROTC. The kids that don't know how to be in the military, our military's numbers are down. We don't have enough people.
No, we don't. And nobody. And
I don't care. Like I said, I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. This is eye-opening, guys. I mean, like, it is your constitutional right if you choose to own a gun. Now, I don't think you should have like something insane, you know, like something the military has, but I think you should have the right to own a gun. I think you should have the right to say, in the Constitution, it's your God-given right to say what you believe in.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many times that Hillary Clinton said that, they stole the election from her.
That's another mess.
I mean, not that I'm Trump's biggest fan. I'm not going to ever say what political party I'm in, but if she's saying that and he's saying that, what's the difference? And him saying that he needs to find those votes, that doesn't mean that he wanted you to write them in. He just said he needed to find that many votes to win, period. He was speaking candidly. Okay? And yeah, he said some things on a tour bus he probably shouldn't have said, but it's true. He said it in a way that it shouldn't have been said, but there are women and men that go after people who are rich because they're rich.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they threaten to sue leak stuff so that they can get paid, whether it's a man or a woman. But he shouldn't have said it the way he said it. I agree with that. As a woman, I would not want to hear my son say that. Period. End of story. I'd knock him out. But the thing is, there are so many people divided, even in households.
Yes.
And I don't care. I mean, growing up in the house that I was in, I didn't know who was a Democrat or Republican. We didn't talk about it. But I honestly think that the reason why they don't want to impeach him is look at who they're going to put in office if they do.
Oh, God. Wow.
Honestly. And I think RFK is damn good.
I'd like to see Trump and RFK Jr. be a team. That would be good.
I would too.
You know what I mean?
I would too.
That's what I'm looking at. I mean,
that would bring us back together.
How about him? They're not going to let him debate Joe Biden in the debates. No. They're not.
No.
He'd destroy him.
No, because his brain's gone. And the thing is, I think it's extremely suspect, being the person I am, all this stuff that's coming out about them receiving money from our arch enemies or anything that they find on the laptop or whatever, all of a sudden there's an indictment.
Yeah.
They are spending money on stupidity that they could be putting towards Maui. They could be putting towards Louisiana. Louisiana still hasn't been fixed. And how long ago was that?
A while back. A while back. And
I mean, my God, our veterans.
Yes.
Like, for real. How many meetings have we gone to that were full of veterans that were in the head because they put them on meds that they shouldn't have?
Yep. Yes, and they threw them out on the street.
You can't come back from any branch of the military and be normal. You can't.
Nope.
You can't. Whether you've seen combat or not, people change when they're in the military. Men, women, whatever they identify as. Don't ask, don't tell, whatever. I don't care. They're not the same. I've seen it in my family. None of them saw combat. But I've seen it. They change. They change. These are siblings. These are friends of mine that grew up with. This is my own son. They're not the same. Period. And God forbid you see combat. That really messes you up. Think of all these men and women who had to fire on children and women and grandmothers and grandfathers because our enemy used them, period. I don't care who you are. You shoot a dog, you're screwed up mentally. Yes. I mean, I remember hitting my first animal in my car, how screwed up I was. I can't imagine some of the shit these people have seen and done to survive. Look at the football player who was killed by friendly fire, Tillman.
Yeah.
His damn family went through hell in a handbasket.
And they're still going through hell too.
Yes.
I still believe that's an open case on that.
Okay, to tell you how messed up it is, my real dad, my sperm donor, was in Vietnam, earned 2 Purple Hearts. When he got back, he had to send them back to the military and have them rescind them so that he could get a job.
Are you serious? Wow.
Yes. The dad that raised me was here and training guys to go to Korea. Something happened and he lost his hearing. I don't know if it was something, physical with his body or if it was some kind of, bomb or whatever, but he was never allowed to go to Korea, and he trained people here. That messes you up too. I can remember him telling me that he had no idea where these men went, because back then it was mostly men. And he felt guilty in the event that they didn't come back. I don't understand it. Put money into our schools. Put money into our veterans. Put money into our homeless. Help people find jobs. Excuse me. Help people that have handicaps. Help natural disaster-ridden areas of the United States.
Yeah.
It's that simple. You don't need a government car. You don't need a government pension. What the hell? Term limits. I mean, my God, the woman's 90-some years old. My mom has all her faculties. She's 92, but this woman, they had to tell her not to talk. She was supposed to say yes or no. And she starts talking about God only knows what. It wasn't making sense. We have a freaking president who is brain damaged. Whether it's dementia, whether it's whatever, I don't know. Meds he takes, God forbid. I don't want that guy to have the code to the freaking nuclear arms. I don't know anybody who does. There are so many people making fun of him. It's over 60-some% of Democrats that want him out of office. I think we should get rid of everybody in Washington, period. Put veterans in there.
I believe there should be an 8-year serving, and that'd be it. They're done.
Period.
You know what I mean?
And
yeah.
I think we need more veterans in there.
Now, I tell you what, Jenny knows how I feel about Dan Crenshaw. That stupid son of a... I mean, what I don't like about him was that he was a Navy SEAL. And there was a Navy SEAL that was going to go to prison for a long time, right? And all the Navy SEALs asked Dan Crenshaw, okay, is it possible if you can use your pole in order for him not to go to jail? Okay. Dan Crenshaw said, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
Well, that's like the Marine. The Marine that's now indicted for murder. A guy starts freaking out in the subway, threatening to kill people. What was he trained to do? Yeah. What was he trained to do? Protect people at all cost. Give your life if you have to. Save as many people as you can. Period. Something snapped in that man's head.
Yeah.
He should have had the help when he came home.
He didn't.
For PTSD, shell shock, whatever you want to call it. And he didn't get it.
My friend Tony here says, hey, Tony, good to see you, buddy. Nothing is going to happen until we, the people, rise up. People rose up for BLM, but not against this administration. You're right, buddy. We got to start doing it. We have to. I mean, We have to. And I know a lot of people are kind of afraid to do it, but there's something that we need to do, and it's got to come down to it. But back to the VA, to the veterans. I belong to the VA hospital, finally got it. And whenever I go over to the VA hospital to get my doctor's exams or get, my checkups and stuff like that, and I look at all the old Vietnam Army men, Marines, and they got that, what was it, 1 mile stare? Is that what it is? 7 miles, whatever it is. And you try to go up and you try to be nice. And they are so angry at the government. Yes. I bawl my eyes out. And here's the biggest thing in the whole wide world. Here's the deal. You go to that VA hospital, those doctors, those custodians, those nurses, those people who take care of, filling out the paperwork. Every time I freaking got an appointment, I'm getting a text message or I'm getting a phone call from saying, you have an appointment. They keep reminding me, but they care. There's times I go into the VA hospital to get checked up and I don't want to leave. And I'll tell you why I don't want to leave, because they care. They treat me with respect. They treat you nice. They treat you like a human being. All the times that I have said on the shows for the last 4.5 years, 5, whatever it is, that I wish one day that everybody would be nice to everybody. Just one day. And you know what? I get that whenever I go to the VA. But here's what's really crazy about it. I walk into the VA, everybody's nice. There's a good attitude in there. A lot of people, stress and, all kinds of other stuff going on. But you know what? It feels like home. I feel good. But once my appointment's done and I got to walk out the freaking door and get into my truck and go, and I leave that garage, and all of a sudden it's back to being the same shit again.
How many years did it take to let you be there?
Well, I got out in 85. And when I got out in 85, I went over and they told me that I made too much money at the job that I was with. Okay. That where I worked at, I made too much money, so I couldn't get the care, because how much money I was making. Not until President Donald J. Trump came up with that bill to take care of veterans. I can go to St. Clair Hospital if I'm not near a VA hospital. I can go to a regular hospital, get checked out, get medically worked on, and I don't have to pay a cent. It gets billed by the VA. Donald J. Trump's the one that was for the veterans. Donald J. Trump is the one that took care of the veterans. And they want to treat this son of a bitch. They want to treat him like he's a piece of shit. Come on. You know what I mean? See, they don't seem to freaking realize that there is like 17 million veterans out there right now that are not happy. You know what I mean? And there's going to be an uprising. There's going to be a civil war. Donald J. Trump took care of the veterans where nobody else would even look at them. Not one. Do you have any last thoughts? It's getting close to that time.
I just wish that we would put time and effort for our own people, for other countries.
You're breaking up, babe.
I wish that we would put more time and effort and money for our own people than other countries.
Well, I agree with you. U.S. gods and extraterrestrials. Who's this Trump guy? Never heard of him, from Brazil. I know who you are. But I just hope that everything plays out the right way. Who knows what's going to happen in 10 days? I don't know. But I really, seriously, that's Joe. Has anyone seen the numbers on Trump's votes? There's a ton of them, Andy. There's a ton of them. I think he hit over 50%. I don't know what the numbers are. But everybody,
Right now,
thank you.
he's 65% of Republicans want him to. The last poll I saw.
65%, man. But everybody, thank you for joining into the show tonight. Our guest, John Bruecken, very good guest. He talked about the paranormal, and I was so proud to see him. And I'm proud that he is a United States Marine. You know, hoorah, is that what they say? Hoorah. Thank you for listening to me rant. You know, and with the shit going on right now, I'm sure it's not going to be the only rant. But I had to get off my chest. I feel a lot better that I spoke what I spoke tonight. You know, children, if you can, go to your parents, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. And parents, please go to your children, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. And if you don't have a parent, if you don't have a child, find somebody that you know and give them a hug and tell them that you love them. Because those 3 words, I love you, go a long way. And on that note, again, I want to thank John Bruecken for being on, Tara as my co-host, and me, Shawn Kelly of Into the Night on UPRN Talk Radio, 105.3 New Orleans, 107.7 Mississippi. And don't forget to hang around for to listen to Trish Mo's piece, The Missing Piece, you know. So on that note, everybody, good night. Have a good one. We'll see you next week.